Switzerland has no golden visa, so for high net worth individuals, the country has been one of the hardest countries in Europe to crack from a residency standpoint. You can't just move there tomorrow without a plan. But inspired by a Geneva-based lawyer's post on IMI Daily, we've discovered 5 legitimate paths to residency in one of the world's most prestigious jurisdictions, and some of them come with an abnormal tax deal that could save you millions. In this video, you'll learn how every route works, plus how to access Swiss citizenship and those special tax privileges. But first, why Switzerland? We'll keep this short because you and many others know why. For over 2 centuries, wealthy individuals have chosen Switzerland for the same reasons: security, stability, world-class health and education systems, proximity to every major European capital, and financial services that need no introduction. Add a stable, strong, predictable currency and appealing tax system, and you start to understand the appeal. But historically, it hasn't been easy to up and move to Switzerland. Without a golden visa program, finding the right gateway can be challenging. Switzerland has 26 cantons, each with different tax frameworks, lifestyles, and even geography. Choosing the wrong canton can be disastrous for your wallet, so the decision of where in Switzerland matters almost as much as the decision to move there. Let us take you through the 5 routes to residency, starting with the simplest, then building to those that qualify you for the Forfait Fiscal special tax regime. Route 1. If you hold citizenship in any EU member state, this is straightforward. EU citizens have the right to settle in Switzerland, provided they can support themselves financially. As a member of the European Free Trade Association, EFTA, Switzerland is not part of the European Economic Area, nor the European Union, but has bilateral agreements with the EU that offer similar residency rights. You can enter as an employee, a self-employed professional, a company director, or simply as a retiree managing your assets. No minimum investment, no special approval process. This is why EU citizenship through a golden visa or citizenship by descent can function as a stepping stone. A Maltese or Portuguese citizenship, for instance, opens the door to Switzerland indirectly. If that kind of strategy interests you, by the way, IMI's Investment Migration Encyclopedia covers almost 300 residency and citizenship programs across 140 countries, where you can sort, filter, and compare options that match your needs. Check it out. Alright, Route 2. Many non-EU nationals have built true connections to Switzerland over the years, through business, family, education, or simply years of vacationing there. There is a specific route for this group as well. To qualify, you must be over 55, demonstrate strong personal ties to Switzerland, pledge not to work during your stay, have sufficient financial means, and pose no threat to public order. The key word there is strong personal ties. Authorities have discretion, and the cantonal requirements are subjective. Owning property alone is typically not enough. Rather, most applicants must document all their visits, Swiss-based family, children educated in Swiss schools, or long-standing business relationships. All of these items strengthen an application but don't guarantee success. Route 3. This is the most discretionary route, which also means it's the most flexible. Swiss immigration authorities can grant a residence permit to anyone whose presence represents a major public interest. That interest can be specific, if you're a leading researcher, cultural if you're an artist or performer, or fiscal if you're prepared to become a major taxpayer. This, of course, is what matters most for high net worth individuals. If you can demonstrate that your Swiss tax contribution will be substantial, cantonal authorities have an incentive to approve your application for residency. How substantial? Depending on the canton, you should expect minimum annual tax payments between 250,000 and 400,000 Swiss francs. That's about $315,000 to $500,000. That is the price of entry through this door. Now, Route 4. Swiss employers can sponsor residence permits for non-EU citizens, but only for highly qualified roles. Managers, specialists, experienced academics. The employer must also prove they could not find a suitable candidate in the Swiss or EU labour market. For instance, a wealthy foreigner can establish a new company in Switzerland or invest in an existing one. That company can then hire its own shareholder under these highly qualified employee rules, and the residence permit follows. You're not buying residency in the sense of a golden visa. Rather, you're building a true business presence and case for your ties to the country. But the outcome is the same: a legal path to Swiss residency for non-EU nationals willing to invest and operate commercially. Finally, Route 5. Swiss residents can bring their spouse or registered partner and minor children through family reunification. Swiss and EU citizens get even broader rights. Children up to age 21, dependent parents and even grandparents regardless of nationality. This route, naturally, does not work in isolation. Someone in the family must already hold Swiss residency through one of the other 4 routes, but it is an important multiplier. One family member with a permit can bring several others. Now, once you have residency, you may be wondering how to secure permanent residency and eventual citizenship in Switzerland. New residents receive a provincial permit, typically renewed annually at first, then every 2 years. After 10 continuous years, you become eligible for permanent residency. If you are married to a Swiss citizen or come from a country with a bilateral treaty, including the UK, the US, and Canada, that timeline drops to 5 years. Swiss citizenship first requires permanent resident status plus 10 years of living in Switzerland, with at least 3 of those years falling in the 5 years before your application. You have to demonstrate integration, knowledge of the country, and pose no security concern. Spouses of Swiss citizens qualify for facilitated naturalization after 5 years of residence and 3 years of marriage. A Swiss passport is one of the strongest in the world, but as you may have picked up on, is not the easiest to obtain. Now, we promised tax perks, right? This is the big one. Switzerland has one of the world's oldest special tax regimes for wealthy immigrants, known as the Forfait Fiscal, or taxation according to expenditure. The concept is simple yet abnormal. Instead of taxing you on worldwide income and wealth, Switzerland taxes you based on your worldwide spending. Because expenditure is hard to verify, a lump sum is calculated instead. In principle, your tax base equals 7 times the annual rent or rental value of your Swiss home. Minimum thresholds vary by canton, but in practice, expect a minimum annual tax bill between 100,000 and 160,000 Swiss francs, about 125 to 200,000 US dollars. For those entering through the major public interest route, minimums climb to 250,000 to 400,000 francs, depending on the canton. But the advantages go beyond the dollar amounts. Under the Forfait Fiscal, you are exempt from reporting all your income and assets to Swiss tax authorities. For ultra-high net worth families with complex international holdings, that privacy and simplicity can be worth as much as the tax savings alone. To qualify, you 1. Cannot be a Swiss national. 2. Must not have been a Swiss tax resident in the previous 10 years. And 3. Cannot engage in gainful activity within Switzerland. Even though the regime is available in most cantons, but not all, the risk of it disappearing or changing materially in the near term is extremely low, which makes it a rarity in the world of international tax planning. You may not qualify for this regime, nor may you want it. Some investors prefer to live in cantons that do not offer lump sum taxation. Others find the ordinary system more advantageous for their specific situation. Under ordinary taxation, Swiss residents pay tax on worldwide income and wealth, except for certain foreign assets like overseas real estate. Similar to states and cities in the United States, Swiss cantons and municipalities set their own rates, which creates domestic tax havens within the country. One feature stands out: capital gains on private assets are not taxable. If you plan to sell a company or liquidate a valuable portfolio, Switzerland under ordinary taxation could save you tens of millions compared to most other European jurisdictions. The Swiss pension system also allows for meaningful income tax savings, particularly for business owners. Now, one last bit that typically catches investors off guard. Swiss law restricts property purchases by foreigners. Non-residents can only buy commercial property or holiday homes, and even holiday homes have limits. 1. Restricted tourist areas. 2. A maximum of 200 square meters of living space. And 3. Government-allocated cantonal quotas. Swiss residents get far broader access. Switzerland is not the easiest country to get into, but for those who qualify for residency, the combination of stability, tax perks, lifestyle, natural beauty, and connectedness can be hard to match anywhere in Europe and in the world. If you are evaluating where to establish residency for tax efficiency, IMI compared the best special tax regimes for foreign income across Europe in the video on your screen now. Who knew Europe could be so appealing? Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you got some value out of this content.